Hey everybody, welcome to Trivera Tip Tuesday number 8. This, in case you missed it, we last week on number 7 talked about how reporting can illustrate marketing's value to your organization. If you want to learn how to get started on meaningful reports that will help your boss understand the importance of what you do, be sure to check that out either on YouTube or by visiting the resources page at Trivera.com. I am Christina Stetter. I'm the EVP at Trivera. And this week, I am talking with Jamie Reinhardt about how sales and marketing can work better to drive better sales leads. And Jamie and I have a great partnership. We sit back to back in the office and collaborate a lot. So we're hoping today we will be able to share some of what we've learned by working so closely together for the last few years. So
yelling back and forth.
Yeah, a lot of yelling back and forth.
Nice yelling. Yes, hi, I'm Jamie Reinhardt. I'm the Senior VP of Business Development at Trivera. I've been at Trivera for about 5 years now.
Cool. So one of the things that I think people always think is that sales and marketing don't work well together, or they literally just can't work well together. And that's usually because people feel like they don't understand each other. One of the things I read in a recent survey said that 41% of sales managers say that they struggle with lead quality and quantity. And right now, if you're on the marketing side of the table, a lot of our budgets are being cut or challenged, which makes it hard for marketing to deliver good leads to sales. But I think really the bottom line is that both worlds have really experienced rapid change. I'm sure you've seen a lot of things that are different since you started your career in sales, haven't you, Jamie?
Oh, yes, definitely. I began my career in sales in print media, and advertisers were spending millions of dollars on print advertising. Digital was more of just a throw-in or an add-on or something to kind of push the deal through, when you bought the real advertising. And so there was just kind of a lack of trust with digital, which is interesting because in reality, when you were making a print advertising buy, you're really putting a lot of trust in the fact that people would, buy a magazine, see the ad, and then take action based off of that advertising. It was always the old adage was 50% of your ad buy worked. You just didn't know which 50% of it was. So that was interesting. But with measurement and tracking, things have gotten a lot more reliable with digital than any other form of advertising. And so things have just shifted. And in my career, I've went from print to digital because really it's something that you can prove and track with your customers, and you can feel really good about helping them. And so that shift happened, over the past 10 years, really. And there's been a lot of great tools that marketers have been able to implement to show people at their company, namely the CFOs and CEOs, that their advertising and marketing dollars are actually returning their investment and helping the business grow. And you can really take it back to the tools and actual things that you're doing to do that. So that's really helped the world because you can actually track what you're doing.
Yeah. I think in my career from the marketing side, it's kind of similar. I started out doing a lot of public relations. And back then you wanted eyeballs on a TV interview or a news article, and the success was the mention. There really wasn't any way to track the results. I remember when websites were new and people didn't necessarily trust them. You needed a photo of your office on your website so you could prove that you were real. Where now it's like you need a website so you can prove that your office is actually a real place. And I think that over the years, we've both seen the internet become a lot more a part of the sales process. And so for me, I switched more to content marketing and thinking about things like search engine optimization. And that really has, I think, started to replace the top of the sales funnel, especially if you are in a field where a high amount of knowledge transfer is critical to making the sale, or if you have a long sales funnel with any level of complexity, the online experience is really important, don't you think?
Yeah. That combination of, like we were talking about before, measurement, goal development, and amazing marketing tools has really helped bridge that gap for spending money. And then is your money worth it? Your marketing dollars worth it? Now we have access to so much good data as well, and good digital marketers are helping sales teams even uncover opportunities. User data collected on websites is really, it's gold. If users are gravitating towards a particular case study or white paper or something like that, we know instantly, marketers know instantly, and they can, help pass that insight along to the sales team, which really can help on calls and all that sort of stuff. So it's really amazing what paying attention to user data on your website can do, and can help actually move along the sales process. People, we see people coming in now too, when they come to Trivera or me, with more knowledge about the company than, when they pick up the phone. So they know a lot more about what it is they need. And Google's data is backing that up. The decision makers are 75% of the way through their purchasing process before they even talk to me. So we really need to have that information available to them so they can help push themselves down that sales funnel.
Right. I think that we've always thought about the sales funnel in a very traditional way, but now we know, Google data also, it shows us people visit a website 8 to 12 times before they give up their information.
Yeah.
And so that's really where sales and marketing can work together. So we think a lot from the marketing side about micro conversions. So obviously, Jamie, you care about the contact us form because that's the goal for you. But we know that people do things on our website before they fill out that form. And so we consider those things like video views, white paper downloads, blog views, or significant page views to be a micro conversion, which demonstrates intent. So we know that this person is seriously thinking about doing business with Trivera or one of our clients, but they're not quite ready to pull the trigger yet. And we can track that behavior, which helps you for Trivera or the salespeople for our clients, really understand what people are looking for and what they want to know about. Yes.
Yeah, that's an amazing example of how sales has changed. Buyers used to expect sellers to explain the product or service. This is what it does. Now they expect sellers to give strategic advice and really drive value over and above. So me personally, I ended up going back to school when I started at Trivera to get my digital marketing certificate and really help understand what it was that we were selling and the value of what we were selling, so that I could be a strategic partner to our clients and not just selling widgets. So it's the expectations are higher, and as salespeople, as they grow in their career, they need to be able to really be a partner to their clients, and that's how you keep them for a long time. There are more buyers involved in every sale now too. Sellers have to sort through the noise and drive decision making in a way that's more akin to like change management than like old school sales opportunity management. Also, prospecting, used to be difficult. It still is, but it was easier to understand. You'd buy a directory, you'd send direct mail, call again, and get an appointment and take it from there. Now it's like a Kafka-esque morose of outreach media technologies, long-term touch sequences, coordination with marketing, email laws, rules, and just a whole lot more. Buyers can review your offerings online, so the bar is way higher on what meetings are supposed to be and what you're supposed to accomplish in those meetings. I mean, when you get a meeting, you really need to knock it out of the park because the buyers are so sophisticated.
Yeah, I think that the sales process has really changed. And some of that is just because people are busier now. All of our jobs have really gotten inflated. I remember when social media first came out or the internet first came out and everybody would say newspapers are going away. Well, guess what? They're different, but they haven't gone away. Everything is additive and there's so much more to do. And then it leads to this sort of vicious circle of sales and marketing. And I found this really great graphic that I'm going to share. Give me a sec to click the right button here. Okay, so hopefully this isn't too blurry because I had to blow it up a little bit. But basically what it's showing is that 79% of marketing leads don't convert into sales, primarily because the leads aren't nurtured. Mm-hmm. And then, but from the flip side, 61% of B2B marketers send the leads directly to sales, but only 27% of them are ever touched by the sales people. And then go back to the other side, Okay, only 56% of those leads are validated before they're sent to sales. And that's all due to this part right here. They haven't identified the sales funnel. So basically, you're
Yeah.
stuck in this vicious circle where marketers need to get leads to sales. Sales don't necessarily follow up with them for a variety of reasons. I'm not saying that they're not doing their jobs, there's just a lot going on. And then because marketers try to get them more leads, because maybe some of them get lost because they're not followed up on, the quality of the leads goes down, or they're not evaluating them as well. And then because they're not being evaluated as well, sales doesn't trust them, so then they don't follow up with them. And it creates this kind of vicious circle. So really, there's got to be a better way to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we thought we would do really quick for everybody who's watching is talk about the way Jamie and I approach figuring out how to make sales and marketing work together for Trivera and for our clients. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you think we should tell people to start this process?
Yeah, one of the most important things, and something that we did at Trivera, was we analyzed where the sales are coming from. I know that can sound pretty basic, but it is. I mean, you have anecdotal evidence of where sales are coming from, but if we really don't track it and write it down, then you don't know. And so it's important to know where sales are coming from, because then you can find out how did you get those sales and really pump up your marketing around those efforts to continue to have that go. So it's important to do it. It's important to document, and it's important to revisit pretty frequently, just to make sure that you're getting it right. Not only for your sales materials, but also, your marketing materials.
Mhm.
And sales and marketing, really, they have to talk to each other. I wrote a blog about this a couple of weeks back, but I had to do mostly with SEO and sales talking to each other. But the same thing as sales and marketing needs to continue to talk. What am I hearing on sales calls? What are our clients' biggest frustrations? What information are prospects asking for in the sales process? Is there opportunities to put that up on the website in different areas to help with the micro conversions like Christina was talking about? And really, how do I close a sale? It's the understanding between sales and marketing. If we have a good understanding of what each other's needs are, an open conversation, and a really clued in idea of who the target is, to make sure that we're all shooting at the same basket. That those are the types of things that help me and help Christina understand who we're reaching out to, and how do we close that deal quicker, because the more sales we have, the happier everyone is.
Right. Yeah, I think it really helps that you and I sit back to back, so we hear
Yep.
each other's phone calls, and so what people complain about after they become a client, and I know what they ask you before they become a client. And we sit in on each other's meetings. That makes a big difference. I think one of the other things we do is, when we onboard a new client, we go through this evaluate phase where we learn everything we possibly can about them. And one of the things we always want to do is talk to the sales team, because they can really help us understand the target audience, because it's really important that both teams are going after the same audience and they see them in the same way. A lot of times, sales and marketing have completely different viewpoints on the audience. And so marketing needs to explain their philosophy to sales, and sales needs to explain their struggles to marketing.
Yeah.
So that both teams have a plan that's targeted towards the business's goals. Often I'm put in a position where the direction is get the name out there. Well, that's not a strategy. That just leads to mindless busy work and unqualified leads. And that's not helpful to any salesperson. So what do you think the next thing you do after you've identified the audience is, Jamie?
Yeah. It's really, setting goals, because goals are so important. And Christina mentioned, during our evaluation process, it's really one of the main parts of that is figuring out what should the goals be. And there can be a lot of different types of goals, and some of them can be sales related, and some of them can be marketing related, but we all need to be on the same page. And then you set your goals. How many leads do you need? And to get that, how many contact forms do you need to have filled out? And what's the closing rate to get those sales numbers? So you kind of work your way back. That way, okay, if we are getting X amount of qualified leads in, we're closing X amount of deals, we're going to be able to hit our goals no matter what, because we've already figured it out mathematically. So tracking. You want to make sure to track it on the back end, and make sure you hold everyone responsible for getting their stuff done. And it's really great because you have two departments working together and everyone's meeting their goals. And so, you're high-fiving and smiling, as opposed to looking over your shoulder and saying, bad things about the other department. So.
Right. Because once I understand what you're trying to do, or I understand what the sales team at a client is trying to do, then we can figure out how to apply that micro conversion philosophy to the sales goals. So what information do people need to know to make that decision? And what is the path to purchase? Because often people try to get from step 1 to step 100 in one website visit, and that's not going to happen. We know that. So using your website data, you can figure out, what is the first question we need to answer? What is the next question we need to answer? And then develop assets that answer these questions so people can move themselves down the sales funnel. Like Jamie said, 75% of the way down the sales funnel, one step at a time. And then what are the other sticking points that make it difficult for a sales team? If you have a high volume sales team, or if you have something that's really complex and requires a lot of explanation, maybe you need to get involved with something like outbound or automated workflows that help the sales team touch these prospects in a more automated fashion. So using something like HubSpot, which is obviously the king of these types of platforms, but then even in a simpler way, you could use Campaign Monitor, or even MailChimp has some super simple automation that you can use just to have a little bit of follow-up without overburdening the sales team.
Yeah, and just remember that the sales funnel might be longer than you think it is. In the past, sales often felt like the funnel was short, but that was when everything happened in person, over the course of a couple meetings. Now people, they do more comparisons, they get more information, even in B2B sales. So, like Christina had said earlier, your customers are pushing themselves through the funnel 75% of the way. So the sales cycle, while it might seem like it's shorter, it's actually still as long as what it once was. And the sales cycle it takes a long time. So anything that sales and marketing can do to facilitate moving people through the funnel, that's really what the goal is.
Cool. Yeah, I think the bottom line is that both ends of the spectrum have changed a lot. And that these two teams really do need to work closely together to bring in business and be focused on the business goals. Salespeople need marketing now because so much happens online, but marketing really needs to understand what are the struggles that salespeople are dealing with. And then they can value what each of them brings to the table, because marketers have a pretty sophisticated tool set and can really do a lot to help salespeople bring in that business, which will really impact the bottom line. So marketing is not just a clever headline and a cute photo and a sales pitch. It's really about understanding customers and communicating. And both salespeople and marketers need to be data-driven and consultative. So if you are interested in learning more about this topic, a lot more, Jamie and I, along with Jen Elias, one of our front-end developers, are going to be doing a 1-hour webinar next Thursday where we really break down how to develop a plan together. And then we'll talk about how marketing can support sales through lead nurturing and various online experiences that can help capture and convert qualified leads.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, be sure to come back next Tip Tuesday. We're going to be talking about something awesome, because we always do. And they're posted every Tuesday at noon. So thanks, Jamie, for joining me today and talking about this. Really good time.
Thanks, Christina. We'll see you.
Bye.